Holy sh! Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainal Backstories, where today we're going to focus on the newest Street Fighter V character to be offered as a DLC, and we're going to break their story down within the Street Fighter universe. Today's fighter is the Supreme Master of the Fists, the Great Devil himself, the one, the only, Akuma. So sit back and relax as Brainal proudly presents another episode of Brainal Backstories. Now that Season 1 is behind us, it's time to take a look at the future fighters of the series to be released for Season 2. And first up is the man himself, Akuma. Speculation had been running wild in the past months as rumors swirled around the appearance of Akuma. But it wasn't until this year's PlayStation experience that Capcom officially announced the Devil would finally make an appearance. So as not to get on the man's bad side, we here at Brainal decided it's about time to tackle the mystery that is Akuma and start drilling down to find out who he is and where did he come from. Alright, so first things first, we need to talk about Akuma's history as a child. To be honest with you, not much is known because he's so mysterious. That is unless you take a look at the Street Fighter origin story of Akuma by Udon Comics. Now alright guys, yes, I know, you're probably screaming at the screen right now asking me, Frozen, why are you using Udon Comics to talk about Akuma's childhood? Everyone knows that the Udon Comics are notorious for being non-canonical. And you know what guys, yeah, you're right. Udon Comics has an ability to kind of branch off the main storyline. But you know what, my friends? To my knowledge, it's the only thing out there that even attempts to talk about Akuma as a child. Unless you really look at Puzzle Fighter and, the cute little childlike avatars, well, all except for Akuma, who clearly has some serious medical deformity. Dysmorphia! Now, I highly doubt that his childhood was spent on solving block puzzles that allowed him to train and fight. So let's get right down to business, shall we? Based on the comic, Akuma's childhood was pretty much ordinary. Akuma grew up with his brother named Gouken, father Yoshinori, and his mother, whose name I don't believe they really mentioned in the comic, so let's call her Akumama. The family lived in a farm somewhere in rural Japan. Now, on a specific day after a long day of work, the family was settling down to eat dinner together when bandits who were casing out the farm during the day came down to confront Yoshinori. Being ever so vigilant, Akuma's father noticed the bandits during the day and saw them coming closer to confront him. As they came down, he ordered Gouken to take Akuma and hide and make sure that nobody saw them. As both Gouken and Akuma settled inside of a barn to hide away from the bandits, they watched as the bandits started to harass their father, Yoshinori. During the confrontation, the brothers learned a little bit about their father's past. Their father, Yoshinori, was a first-generation disciple of Gotetsu, a master practitioner of the Ensatsuken school of karate. Although many years have passed since then, we actually learned that Yoshinori was once known as Gyuki, whose desire for greatness led him down an evil path of the Dark Hadou. As the brothers hid in silence and fear, they were confronted with the realization that their father had a dark and secretive past. Now, you see, this wasn't any random confrontation. The bandits knew exactly what they were doing, and they knew exactly who they would be targeting. You see, this was all planned out. The leader of the bandits knew exactly who he was talking to. This was the man who killed his father, and he was there to get revenge. Akuma's father tried to deny everything. He tried to get the bandits to leave and not hurt him and his family. But you know what? They were there and they were out for blood. They wanted to kill this man, so much that they nabbed up Akumama and threatened to break her arm in half if he didn't fight. So what's the man to do? I mean, these dudes come up in here threatening you and your family. You gotta throw down, man. You gotta represent. You can't be no punk. So it was on. The bandits' leader and Yoshinori went ahead and scrapped it out. But as the fight went on, it was clear that Yoshinori was out of practice. He couldn't keep up. And at the end of it, he got beat down. All of this in front of the eyes of Gouken and Akuma. Not wanting to let her sons watch their own father's death, Akuma was able to slip in a nice elbow to crack the jaw of her aggressor, giving them just enough time for her to yell out to Gouken to run as they ran away from the situation. As they were running away, Akuma was told not to look back. But guess what? Curiosity kills the cat, right? He looks back just in time to see his entire farm go up in flames. Yo, I can't even imagine that. Seeing my pops go down in the fight and my home up in flames, you know somebody's gonna be messed up after that. So anyways, look, Akuma, Gouken, and Akuma, they were on the run, I don't know, maybe for days or something. But they finally get away, they're long gone, and they hold up inside of the cave that's in a mountain covered in snow. But all is not right. Akuma is down for the count. She's sick. She's not eating. Gouken is worried. He's telling his brother, Akuma, who couldn't care less. He's talking back to his brother like he don't care. The dude is punching a wall, getting all bloody fists. Akuma's gone. He's pissed off. His father lied to him all these years. He found out his father was an assassin. They had to run away because his father didn't even say the truth. So look, Gouken and Akuma, they can't agree to anything. Akuma, like I said, he's gone. He's pissed off at the world, pissed off at his family, pissed off at the whole situation. So guess what? He leaves! He's off doing his own thing now. He just left his mother and his brother in the cave, not caring one bit what happens to them. And the dude just walks off with blood dripping from his fist because he was punching the wall. Who knows how long he was punching that damn wall. So here he is. He's just walking out in the middle of the snow. He's got no plan, no place to go. And guess what? He stumbles across a bear. And I give you one guess. One guess what this guy does. He unwraps his bandages from his bloody fist and he fights the bear. I mean, I'm for real. Look at this thing. Look, okay? The bear smells the blood off of Akuma's hands because he's punching that damn wall, all right? The bear attacks. He bites Akuma on the shoulder. Akuma gets upset, sticks his thumb right in the bear's eye. The bear now has only one eye, okay? And it's crazy. At this point, it's just getting ridiculous. It's just getting crazy, all right? I mean, Akuma's out in the wilderness fighting bears and leaving him with one eye, okay? But, you know, the bear comes back and starts beating up on Akuma. It looks like he's gonna die. And then some Gandalf-looking motherfucker comes in, saves Akuma, and the next thing we know, Akuma's now in like some, I don't know, some dojo place, and he's all bandaged up. Whew. I mean, look, it got intense, alright? But now we gotta figure out who this Gandalf dude is. Alright, so they start talking, they start conversating, and they say, hey, you know what happened out there? Oh, I saved your life. You know, things like that. So during their discussion, we find out that Gandalf is actually Gotetsu. Yeah, that's right. He's the master practitioner of the Ensatsuken arts and the one that trained his father. So naturally, Akuma wants to learn. And he gladly accepts. Look, I just wanted to share that piece of the story with you. I'm not going to go through all 4 different comics of this origin story. I don't have the time. You don't have the patience. Let's just move on and see what happens after he grows up. So as Akuma trained with Gotetsu, he would eventually be joined by Gouken. It turns out that Gouken had been looking for Akuma ever since he left him and Akuma back in the cave. And when he finds Akuma, he tells him that their mother had died, and basically, he's the only family he's got left. Now that the two were reunited, the brothers trained for years with Gotetsu, learning everything they can about Ensatsuken karate. But this was no walk in the park. Training in Ensatsuken meant that they had to combine a mixture of devastatingly powerful and lethal technique and balance it with the beautifully peaceful artistry within the forms. As years went by, the brothers started to grow apart in their training, as Gouken eventually left the dojo, seeking to forge his own path of Ansatsuken into a peaceful side. Meanwhile, Akuma stayed on with Gotetsu, obsessed with learning the darker side of Ansatsuken, more specifically, the Satsui no Haru, or killing intent technique. It wasn't too long until Akuma got fed up with Gotetsu. Feeling as if he had plateaued, Akuma eventually left the dojo to focus on his own personal journey, his own path to the Satsui no Haru. It's important to note here that because of Akuma's lust for the dark Haru, his personality started to change drastically as he was losing his grasp of his own humanity. But he liked it. He felt that he had learned all he could from Gotetsu, and he felt that he could progress further on his own. So he finally rid himself of Gotetsu to fully embrace his dark arts. So Akuma left, but no one knows how long he was out there training. But one day, Akuma returned back to Gotetsu's dojo, a completely new and transformed man. Only this time, he was no longer a man. He was a demon, a raging demon. As he returned, he challenged Gotetsu to a fight to the death. And when it was all said and done, he killed Gotetsu using his newly found powerful Shungoku Satsu technique. To celebrate his victory, Akuma took the beads off of his dead master's neck and placed it onto his as a trophy and statement of his supreme power. But guess what, everybody? Gouken had been on a journey to travel back to Gotetsu for a little visit, and he was confronted by the aftermath that was Gotetsu's murder. Gouken cursed his brother out and realized that Akuma was no longer a man, but he was a demon, filled with hatred and vengeance in his heart. But Akuma just walked away, yet again leaving his only brother to pick up the pieces. So the demon's on the loose. He's traveling the world in search of worthy fighters to fight, and also to continue his training. When after years of the death of Gotetsu, Gouken would find Akuma and challenge him to a fight. All while Gouken's newest disciples, Ryu and Ken, looked on from a distance. This was an epic battle, and this was the first time the brothers had ever truly fought against each other. And it was Akuma who lost. Time to come up off them beads, bruh! After the fight was over, Akuma just walked away, but he was furious at himself. He had yet to master the Dark Haru, and vowed to continue training. Years later, the brothers fought again. Only this time, we see that Akuma finally cast aside his humanity, and what was left was the true essence of the Satsui no Haru. At the end of this match, Akuma killed Gouken. Or so he thought. You see, through the years of their last fight, Gouken had been taking his time perfecting his own version of Ansatsuken, and learning the power of nothingness. Right before Akuma used his Shungoku Satsu technique, Gouken emptied his soul and survived the fight against his younger brother, but it left him in an unconscious state, which looked like he was dead. It wasn't soon after when Ken found the body of Gouken, and thinking he was dead, chased after Akuma, only to be bitch-slapped around by Akuma, who clearly was a million times better fighter than Ken had ever hoped to be. Thinking that he finally killed his brother, Akuma traveled the world in search of worthy fighters to challenge. Eventually, he finds Ryu, and becomes fascinated by Ryu's power. It seems that Ryu, after watching Akuma and Gouken fight way back in the day, became interested in the Dark Haru, and he dabbled in it a little bit. So the two get down, they fight, and it would appear that Ryu is actually kicking Akuma's ass, when in reality, Akuma reveals that he'd only been sparring with Ryu and just wanted to gauge his potential in using the Dark Haru. Akuma just abandons the fight, which left Ryu a bit dazed and confused as to what the true power of the Dark Haru really was. As Ryu is left bewildered and confused, he finds it hard to balance the Dark Haru and the Ansatsuken techniques within him, as he struggles to find a balance throughout the rest of the game series. Akuma, having once again gone out into the world, seeking stronger opponents, he finds himself drawn towards the Super Street Fighter II Turbo tournament. Now, he isn't an official participant, but he lies in wait, watching over fighters and taking a key interest in Ryu. Within the game, Akuma is actually a hidden boss, and once he's activated, he's seen attacking and killing N. Bison, then getting ready to fight Ryu once again. It's not clear what the outcome of this fight was, but it is clear to see that Akuma was just toying with Ryu, as he senses that Ryu is struggling to understand his newfound power. Since we don't really know what happened after their fight, we can safely assume that once again, Akuma went out in the world finding other fighters that he would train and fight with. But nevertheless, he's always keeping one eye open for Ryu, and he actually finds him within Seth's tournament, Super Street Fighter IV. Their meeting was intense, as Akuma expressed his disappointment that Ryu wasn't using his true power, and that he needed to embrace the Dark Hadu. So guess what? The two fight again. And guess what? We still don't know the outcome. Which now brings us to Street Fighter V. And we all know that from the story, Ryu seems to be progressing very well in his training, and even has found the ability to call upon the Dark Hadu if need be. But no doubt, Akuma is waiting in the wings for the moment that Ryu slips and is finally engulfed within the dark power that is Satsui no Hadu. Well, that's it, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of Brainal Backstories. There was a lot of information here, and I'm pretty sure I didn't catch everything in his history. But if you think I left something out or want to contribute, please comment below. I'm Froze in GFX, and on behalf of everyone here at Brainal, thanks for watching.